Hey, it's your real estate geek, Andrew Finney here. So we're coming back today with home buying checklist, and in the home buying checklist, I'm going to give you 22 checkpoints that you can use today. Get a pen and paper, write them down, save the video, refer to it later. You'll want to keep up on this information, and if you haven't already done so, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel and like this video. So let's kick it off with checkpoint item number one. Checkpoint item number one is actually finding a great local real estate agent to work with. Things that you want to look for in a great local real estate agent are how many closings have they had over the past 12 months. Ideally, you want an agent that has helped at least 12 families or more close on their new home in the last 12 months. That shows that an agent is constantly in the process of home buying or home selling, and they're up on all local laws and trends and are going to be able to assist you. Anything more than that's just gravy, but a minimum of 12 is great. Another thing to do is always to check their ratings. Now, just because an agent may have less than a 5-star, let's say between a 4-star or 5-star rating, doesn't mean they're a bad agent. It just means that they weren't able to help somebody, or they got a bad review from somebody, or a less than perfect review from somebody, and they're just growing and developing and learning on. So the other thing that you want to read, and what you really want to pay specific attention to, are the reviews. You want to actually take some time, Google that agent, read their reviews, and see if they're going to be a good fit for you. Check online, see if they have any videos, ask for testimonials, ask them if they can give you references. That kind of stuff is going to be extremely powerful. Checkpoint item number two is actually asking that real estate consultant that you're going to be working with for a great local loan officer. You absolutely want a local loan officer because they're going to know all the ins and outs of the local mortgages that are there. Take, for example, like down payment assistance programs. From different state to state, there may be state-specific down payment assistance programs, and no one's going to know that process better than your local loan officer. So ask your local real estate agent about that when you're getting referred to the local loan officer, okay? So checkpoint item number three. Now this is where the considerations for your home planning and things that you need to be considering really come into play. Number one thing that you want to consider before you even go see a home is, what does the home flow look like? The home flow, if the flow isn't right for you, then don't even bother looking at it. Check and see if it's going to flow the right way on the lot, if it's going to flow for your life, if it's going to be convenient in the way that it's opened up, whether you want an open concept or if you want formal rooms. Check that flow and make sure it's right for you before you even view it. That can save you a lot of time. Checkpoint item number 4 is actually the room size itself. Now, depending on the size of home that you're looking for will ultimately depend on the room sizes. Sometimes you could have a 1,600 square foot home, and they might have 14 by 14 rooms, but it might only be 2 bedrooms. So if you need a 3-bedroom or a 4-bedroom and you're still dealing with 1,600 square foot, then logically, of course, those room sizes are going to get a little bit smaller. So if you need a certain size of room, ask your local real estate agent to set you up on a custom home site through their multiple listing service, also known as the MLS, for room size specific type homes. They can absolutely do that, and they can absolutely help you with that if you need a certain size of room. Keep in mind that everybody might want a 20 by 20 room or something, but that may not be realistic in your location. So just kind of bear that in mind and share that information with your local real estate agent to help you out with that. Room size is very, very important to a lot of people, so let's get it right from the get-go. So that brings us to checkpoint number 5, which is actually the floor plan of the home. Kind of tying back into the home flow, the floor plan of the home, whether it's open concept, whether you have those formal rooms, or whether you like them with a lot of different rooms, a room for everything, a laundry room, a formal dining room, a living room, a family room. That's kind of what you want to think of in the floor plan. Does it feel right to you when you walk in? If it's a 2-story, are the stairs in the right location that when you walk in every single day you're thinking, yes, I love my home, and yes, this is the right place for me and my family, or it's just the right place to continue our life in and we just love it? Check that floor plan. Sometimes depending on the home and depending on where you're at, agents may have access to pulling off some kind of floor plan, or at least a rough sketch from an old appraisal report or some type of county records that they may be able to get access to for you. So ask your local real estate agent about that and make sure that they're helping you out with that. So then that brings us into checkpoint number 6, which is actually the grade of the lot. Now, why is that important? If you're living in a mountainous area or the terrain's a bit rough, let's say that maybe you have plans maybe 5 or 10 years down the road and you want to add a pool. Well, if your lot is just sloping straight down, how's that going to be possible? It's going to be very, very difficult and very, very expensive to put a pool on that kind of a lot, if even possible to do it. You have to do too much excavation. So you need to think about, whenever you're choosing your new home, think about the grade of the lot and think about how not only today's plans in buying the home, but think about how you want to live there 5, 10, 15 years down the road, depending on how long you intend to live in that home. So checkpoint number 7 is actually the windows. What do we mean by the windows? We want to check that light for natural light. We want to check the size of the windows and make sure that it's the right size, that you have the views that you want for the type of lot that you have and the type of area of the country you're in, to make sure that those are enough windows for you. Are they low E windows? Are they high efficiency windows? Are they dual pane windows? Are they new acrylic windows? There's so much that go in the windows, and the different types of energy ratings on them can be substantial in helping you keep your monthly expenses and utility bills down. So ask about that. Agents will normally be able to tell pretty quickly what kind of window you have, and a home inspector, even better yet, will be able to tell you what kind of home windows you have in your new home. So checkpoint number 8 is actually the natural light. Let it in if that's what you want. Some people are day sleepers, so it may not really bother them. And it actually may bother them if they're trying to sleep and they get too much natural light. Some people are early risers, or some people love the light inside their home. So taking into consideration if the natural lighting is enough for you, okay? Checkpoint number 9 is actually checking into the local climate. This is specifically relevant if you're moving from one location of the country to the next. You know, here in Las Vegas, Nevada, we get a lot of people that move in from the colder climates to our warmer climate. Depending on the time of year they move in, they can have a little bit of an interesting time acclimating to our environment. If you're coming out of the Northeast or the Northwest, or, you know, way up in the north, then you're used to probably what seems warm over there, maybe 80, 85 degree summers, depending where you're at in the country. Here in Las Vegas, Nevada, the peak season, it'll be 115, sometimes as high as 120 degrees in the summer. So plan that out if you're moving from one location of the country to the next. If you're moving from a colder environment into a warmer environment, it may be best to move in the fall or winter so that you can acclimate with the seasons as it gets warmer and make it a little bit easier on yourself. And vice versa, if you're moving from a warmer climate to a colder climate, it may be best to move in the summer so you can kind of get used to the weather before the harshness sets in on either side of that spectrum. So then we have checkpoint item number 10, which is home orientation. Home orientation, you know, some people don't give a hill of beans about it. Some people give all the beans in the world about it. And the reason being is, like, if you have a home that faces east and west, right? Let's say the front of the home is in the east and the back of it is in the west. Why is that significant? Well, the sun rises in the east and it sets in the west. So that means that you're going to get straight on sunlight through the eastern front of the home, and in the afternoons and evenings you're going to have that western sun. Some people love that, some people don't, so keep that in mind. Whereas if you're north and south facing, it may be a little bit more energy efficient just because of its orientation on that lot, but it'll also be a little bit darker on the inside depending on the amount of windows and how that home is actually situated. So keep that in mind as you're looking for your new home. That is another feature your local real estate agent can actually put into your home search criteria if you have a preference for a certain facing lot or a couple of different directions. It will cut down your options quite a bit, but it'll give you those homes that match closest to your criteria. So checkpoint number 11 is a driveway. Some people care, some people don't care. It depends on how you live your lifestyle. Depending on where you are in the country will actually kind of dictate what kind of driveway you may or may not have. So keep that in mind. That's going to be directly correlated to the location of the country that you're in. And it's also going to be directly correlated to the price range of the home that you're looking for and the type of home you're looking for. If that's something that's important to you, be mindful of that and ask your real estate agent to help you out with that. Checkpoint number 12 is the parking situation. The parking situation, so if you have company over, where are they parking? Where are you parking? Do you have a garage? Is it on the front of the house? Is it on the side of the house? Is it its own structure? Is it on the back side? You know, check out the parking situation and where your guests may park, whether they're family, friends, or anyone that you want to have over to your home are going to park. Are they going to park in your driveway? Is there on-street parking allowed? You know, is there a parking facility somewhere nearby? Keep that in mind as you're choosing your new home, because it's important to really start feeling like, okay, let's go from the pictures of looking gorgeous to, is it the right home for the way that we want to live? And think it through logically not just emotionally, but logically, how are you going to live in that home and make sure it's the best fit for you? So that brings us to checkpoint number 13, which are stairs. If you're buying a 2-story home, you want, or even a split level, you want to make sure that however steep those stairs are, that it's okay for you. Check and see if you have, and imagine, imagine furniture. Getting furniture up and down, whether you're hiring movers or whether you're doing it yourself. Just imagine what you're going to have to do with those stairs to be able to get the furniture upstairs. And if they're like what I call a stairway to heaven, just going straight up, or if they're stairways that have little landings on the way up so you can move stuff up incrementally without killing yourself at the same time. Make sure that you check the stairs and make sure that whatever the stair situation is, it's appropriate for your lifestyle. You may not have issues with them now, but if you're planning on living in that house for a long time, as we get older, sometimes stairs become hard on our body. So that brings us to checkpoint number 14, which is the house style itself. Check for the bones of the home. I mean, look past the paint, look past, if there's any clutter, look past any dirt. If the home is dirty or something, look past that and look at the bones of the home. Does it have beams? Does it have crown molding? Does it have big baseboards? I mean, what is the design concept of the home that if you were to clean it, declutter it, and make it your own, what kind of features and benefits does it have naturally to pop? And is it something that you enjoy? If so, give that some more consideration. Some homes are going to have it, some homes aren't going to have it. And you can always, of course, once you own the home, add anything into it that you want. So that brings us back to checkpoint number 15, which is the HVAC system. Your heating and air conditioning are crucially important. If you're in more of a temperate area of the country, it may not be quite as big of a thing, but if you're in a colder climate or a hotter climate, or you have different seasons that are pretty extreme, this is a really important thing to make sure that your HVAC system is not only operational, but making plans to replace it in time. Let's say you're living in that house for 15 years. There's a good chance that you may need to be able to replace that at that time. So take into consideration what is the health of your heating element and your air conditioning element. Your home inspector will be able to help you discern that. Checkpoint number 16 is the laundry room. Do you actually want a room or do you want an area? Where is it located? Is it where you think about, sit down in the house. When you go see that house, find a spot to kind of sit or just stand and envision yourself living there, from where your kitchen is to where your laundry area is to where your bedrooms are. I mean, it's one of those things that we do a lot of, is we always keep our clothes clean, hopefully, right? So that means that we're doing a lot of washing and drying, and we need to be thoughtful about what is our trip to the laundry room or the laundry area. How does it affect the way that we live? Is it conducive to our lifestyle? Check on that and make sure that you're also plugging in any criteria with your local real estate agent on finding whether that's going to be something that's important to you or not. Another consideration is checkpoint 17, which is the kitchen. Now, kitchens, everyone knows kitchens and bathrooms are really big things when selling a home and also buying a home. Check that kitchen. What kind of cabinets does it have? Does it have hardware? Is it an upgraded kitchen? Does it have granite? Does it have quartz? Does it have corian? What kind of countertop surfaces are you dealing with here? And is it something that you enjoy? If you want an island, with a lot of the families that I've worked with, sometimes, an island is a make or break thing. So why would we look at any homes without an island unless they chose to install one? In reality, that could be more expensive and a little bit more difficult to do than one may anticipate. So it's generally best to just look for homes that have an island in the kitchen if that's an absolute must to that specific person. If it's not and you're flexible, just keep that in mind. There's a lot of different kitchen options out there. So just bear in mind the kitchen is extremely important, because you're going to spend a lot of time in your kitchen cooking. It's also a congregation point whenever you're having family or friends and you're hosting parties or events at your home. It's a congregation point. Everyone loves to eat. We all love to feed ourselves. So keep that in mind. So checkpoint number 18 is actually the number of bathrooms. This is also crucially important. If you're looking for, let's say that you're a single, let's say that you're buying your first home by yourself. And if you're buying your first home by yourself, you're thinking, okay, 2 beds, 3 beds, that's good. 1.5 baths, 2.5 baths, whatever. Oh, okay, that's okay. What happens if you decide to get a significant other and you and that significant other have or adopt a child or something? What happens then? If you're still in that same home and you want to be able to, and you love your home and you don't really want to move, then plan out how many bathrooms you have. Where your guest and your company and your family going to use the bathroom? Some people like to have, obviously, the master bathroom en suite, and then also have one for family or guests or somebody that stays down the hallway, and then to have like maybe a powder bath, for example, in the familial living spaces so that people can use the bathroom without going back into the other sections of the home. Think about that and see if that's important to you. Checkpoint number 19 is the ceiling heights. Ceiling heights are very subjective. Some people like tall ceilings, some people like low ceilings, some people don't really care. If you care about that, then check on that and ask your local real estate agent, hey, you know, what age of home, what area of town, what price range of home am I looking at to get, you know, a 9-foot ceiling, a 10-foot ceiling, a 12-foot ceiling, you know, or an open ceiling, you know, arching ceilings. Ask them those questions and make sure that your home search site is set up for homes that most match your criteria. It's okay if that home search site only has maybe 3 to 5 results in it, or maybe a possible 20. Out of that, you should be able to find your top 3 to 5, and one of those 3 to 5 will likely be your new home because it matches your criteria. It's better to do that than to look at 2,000 homes and forget what the first one looked like, and then possibly lose out on a home that you really would have been happy with on house number 998. So keep that report really refined down to your preferences, and it'll make your job a lot easier when it comes time to find your new home. Checkpoint number 20 is the zoning and ordinance for pets. If you have horses, if you have cows, or if you have anything like that, you're going to want specific type of zoning for agriculture to make sure that you're in compliance with the city codes and ordinances. If you have dogs, depending on the kind of dogs you have, you may want to check city ordinances to ensure that you're going to be able to have that type of dog in that community. Keep that in mind. It's something that's really important to people depending on where you live across the country. Checkpoint number 21 is actually what is the space from your neighbors. Some people don't like being bushed up close together, and again, this goes back to the area of the country. We deal with a lot of people in Las Vegas moving from out of state, and sometimes, you know, some people are delighted and some people are like, wow, these homes are a lot closer together than we thought, depending on what price range you're looking in. And that's a good point. It's a valid point. You know, depending on where you live in the country, the homes are either going to be closer together. If you're in the Midwest or some of the other areas of the country back east, you may have more spacing, and it may be customary to have that spacing, whereas you come into like the West Coast or some areas of the country and they're going to be a lot closer together. So make sure that you're working with your local real estate agent to find the communities that have the proximity from the neighbors that you're looking for. Now that brings us full circle to checkpoint 22. Checkpoint 22 is the actual neighborhood. Research that neighborhood, ask questions about that neighborhood, and make sure that neighborhood is where you can envision living in your mind of mind and heart of hearts. Doing all of these 22 things right will greatly aid you in your success in buying your new home, and it will keep you from having home buyer's remorse. It'll enable you to be very, very happy, very, very productive, and enjoy the home buying experience and enjoy your life in the new home that you decide to ultimately purchase. If you have any questions about this, or if you need any help finding a great local real estate agent that is a certified residential specialist or an accredited buyer's representative, please let me know. I am both, and I will happily put my network to use for you to help you find yours wherever you may be in the country. Just like we started off this video, if you haven't already done so, please go ahead and tap that like button, subscribe to the channel now, and share it around. By all means, share it around. You never know who this video is going to be able to help. Tell me what you're thinking in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again soon. Enjoy an amazing day.